In this session, we will have a look about the introduction to statistics. As an introduction to statistics, first we will see what is actually meant by statistics. Statistics is said to be the science of data. And this involves collecting, representing, analyzing, and interpreting the numerical information. This is what we are generally saying as statistics. When you are going to learn on statistics, there are four major parties that we have to pay our attention. Prior to discussing on these four major parties, what I have to tell you is statistics can be said as the science of data. This is said to be the science of data. Therefore, based on based on data, this statistic is made up. Therefore, what we are dealing with data, whatever process that we are dealing with data, then we can apply the techniques that we are introducing on statistics. It is the general thing that we are doing as learning statistics. I told you that data is the fundamental of the foundation of this statistic. Therefore, when we are going to deal with data, then we have to pay our attention on these four major areas. What we are saying as the collecting of data. And simply, I will say this as the collecting. And the second area is representing or the data presentation. Representing of data. And then next area is the analyzing of data. And fourth one is the interpretation of data. Based on these four areas, what we are dealing with this data, this statistic is made up. In simply, what we are going to do is in statistics, the simple process that we are going to do is first we are collecting data, then using appropriate technique, then we are going to represent those data, and then these represented data or summarized data, then we will use the statistical techniques to analyze this data, and thereafter we will get a result. Then we are interpreting that results. That is, if I simply explain what is statistic, we can say this process is meant as statistic. That is why we can say that statistic is the science of data. When we are going to learn about statistics, there are some major terms, actually the terms that we have to pay our attention on as well. Therefore, the very basic things I will discuss in this session. First, we will go through, we will just have an idea regarding these terms or the terminology used in statistics. The first term that we are, the most common term that we are using in statistics is variable. Variable is said to be any characteristic, any number, or any quantity that can be measured or counted. It is simple like this. Now think about if you are performing or if you are performing a study, and if you need to identify or if you need to get the data on the student's height. Therefore, if you are interested on the student's height, then this is what we are saying as the variable of interest. This is said to be the variable of interest. It is because now we are going to have a look about the student height, and this is a measurable quantity. This is a measurable quantity, or as an example, if you are finding the number of students in a classroom, number of students, then here we can say, since this is it is rather than measurable, we can say this as a countable. Therefore, here we can say this is a measurable quantity, and this is what we are saying as the variable. This is an example for variable, and this is another example for variable. If you are considering number of students, it means that you are counting the number of students in a classroom. Then we will go for the next term. The next term is data. The measurement or the observation or simply values for a variable is generally said to be data. When you are considering the first experiment of measuring the student height, then you may say that for the first student, you may have the height as 170 centimeters. For the second student, you may have 156 centimeters. For the third student, you may have 157 centimeters. Likewise, for the 10th student, if you are considering 10 students, that student may have 167 centimeters. Likewise, you may have the values for these measurements, or you may have the values for your variable. Then these values are said to be the data. And we will move for the next term. It is the random variable. Actually, random variable can be considered as a type of variable. Then we can say a variable whose possible values are outcomes of a random phenomena is said to be a random variable. In here, if we are assigning this student height, when we are conducting this experiment, and up to that minute or up to that time, we do not know who are the students that we are selecting. We are randomly selecting, and there is no predefined value for their heights since these students are selected randomly. Therefore, based on a random phenomena, we are selecting these students. Since we are observing the height of these randomly selected students, then the values that we are assigning or values we are obtaining is completely random. And once you assign those values to variable, then such variable is called as a random variable. Therefore, these are the three major terminology used in statistics, but it is not the only thing we have to use, but there are many more terms. But for the easiness of the access for the next part of this session or this session, I will just give the idea regarding these three terms. Now we will move for the next part. It is these are again another terms that we have to use, and now we will discuss on them one by one. The first term that we are using here is population. We'll see now what is meant by population. The total set of observations that can be made in a study is meant to be the population. You all know that for each 4 years time there is a census survey in Sri Lanka. It means that they are counting total civilians live in Sri Lanka. Therefore, they are considering all the observations or all the elements inside a selected study area, and they are having the measuring or they are having the counts for such set of values. Therefore, simply we can say that population as if you are considering all the observations or total set of observations which is related for a study, then such is called as a population. If you consider on this, these are several examples that I have included here. If you consider all the adults in Sri Lanka who are eligible to vote, this is what we are interesting. Therefore, the variable of interesting in this is the political party that they are supporting. It is quite like this. Now think about if you are conducting a study on or to get the knowledge on the or to identify the interest of the political party of the Sri Lankan voters who are supporting. Therefore, for this study, what you need to do is you need to identify the adults who are eligible to vote in Sri Lanka. Therefore, in such a case, what you can do is one method is you can select all the adults, the people who are eligible for the voting. Then you can select all these eligible voters in Sri Lanka, and then you are asking what is their political affiliation. Likewise, you can collect data. Therefore, in this situation, what you are going to do is to have this study, you are considering a total set of observations for that study. That is why we can say this as a population. And in the next example, batteries of a particular type manufactured by a particular company. Here what they are studying is they are having the interest of the lifetime of the battery before failure. Now think about a study like that. If you need to perform a study on identification of the lifetime of a battery before its failure, then what you can do is you can select each and every battery manufactured by the certain company under certain brand name or as a certain manufacturer. Likewise, if you are selecting all the batteries that they are manufacturing, then you can say such it as a population. It is because for your study, you are using this complete set. And here some other examples included: all adult males working full-time in a company. Here what they are going to study is a person's gross income. Therefore, what you can do is, the one method is, if you need to get the whole population, you have to get the details or information from all the male workers working in this company. If we are just having the here what we can say interest in the male workers, this would be most appropriate. Now, if you are interested on the male workers gross income, then what you can do is we can select all the male workers in that company, and we can collect these collect the data from them. Here also we have considered total set to obtain the data. Therefore, again we can consider this as a population. Then all potential possible outcomes of a planned laboratory experiment. Here what you are going to do is, if you are just having the interest on identification of a value for a particular measurement, think that if you just need to have an idea about what is the value that you are getting for a titration. Likewise, if you just need to have an idea about that, then what you can do is you can repeat the same experiment for large number of times, and then you can identify what is the possible value. Therefore, what you can do is you can, if you are defining it for 100 times as your population, then you can set all these, or if there is a defined procedure, it says that you have to have this number of times or this number of trials. And here you are using the complete set to obtain the values. Therefore, in such situation also, we can identify this as a population. But when we are going to perform a study using population, there will be so many issues and so many troubles that we have to face. It is because when you are performing an statistical survey or any study, then you have to think on these things as well. You have to think on the time that you can allocate for the study, then the money that you can allocate for the study, then what you can consider is amount of labor that you are having. Amount of labor that you are having. Likewise, there may be so many restrictions or so many things that which are limiting our study. Therefore, most of the times we cannot entertain this whole population. In such situations, we cannot just give up all these experiments and say, no, there is no enough time, there is not enough money, no enough amount of labor to conduct this study. Therefore, I will give up for this study. Then, in such, if you are thinking in such way, then we may not be able to have any good research in this world. Therefore, to overcome these things, what we are going to do is, here what are the if you are performing a study based on population, then these will be some constraints that we have to face. Therefore, to overcome this, what we are going to do is we have to obtain a sample from this population, and then we can perform these experiments to or perform our study using this sample data. Now we will see what is a sample. A set of data collected or selected from a statistical population by a defined procedure. When you need to, I told you what are the constraints that we are facing if we are considering whole population, if for a survey or any statistical study. Then to overcome that, we can select a sample. A sample is said to be a subset of population, and this should be a generalized subset. This should be a generalized subset. It is because the sample that we are obtaining from this population, this generalized subset or the sample that we are taking, it should reflects the entire population. Otherwise, this would not be an appropriate sample. Therefore, that is why we are saying this as the obtaining or the collecting or selected from a statistical population by a defined procedure. Therefore, once you know about the population and if you wish to obtain a sample, there are defined procedures of obtaining samples. What we are saying, these are the sampling techniques. Therefore, using sampling techniques to this process, what we can do is we can use the sampling techniques. We can use sampling techniques easily to obtain the sample from the population. And here what we have to focus is this sampling technique should be a appropriate one. Otherwise, you may not able to apply it for each and every population, as well as not for each and every population. According to the situation and according to the survey type that we are going to conduct, we have to identify what is the suitable sampling technique for that as well. Now, if you consider about the examples which we are taking for this population, now think about if you need to, if you are having this study on identification of the political party that they are supporting or the political affiliation of the voters, then you may not be reached to each and every adult voter in Sri Lanka who are eligible to vote. You cannot reach for each and every adult. It is because this will be completely a time-consuming process, and you may not have sufficient money to conduct a study like this, and there is no enough labor. Likewise, there may be so many constraints. Therefore, to overcome such constraints, what we can do is, if you can represent the whole Sri Lanka by a set of voters, then if you can identify such a group, then we can easily do this study. Therefore, what I have suggested is, I am going to select a random sample of 100 voters from each district in Sri Lanka. Therefore, now what we can see is there are altogether 25 districts in Sri Lanka. Then what we can do is we have to consider on this number, it is 25. If we are considering this as 25, or as it is 24, then it is multiplied with Sri Lanka. Therefore, what we need to do is we need to select this number of voters from Sri Lanka. It means that from each district, we are selecting 100 voters, or else proportionately, we can identify or we can select the this number of voters. Therefore, likewise. Otherwise, what we are going to do is we are going to each and every person in Sri Lanka and asking about their political affiliation. It will not be a easy way for conducting such a study. That is why we can say we can select a random sample which represent, if you are selecting this 100, this should represent or this should reflect about the entire population of that district. Suppose that for one district, if there are say about if it is 100K, it means that 1 lakh of people living in that area. You have to select only 100 to represent this 100,000 people living in that, or 100,000 voters living in that district. That is how we have to obtain the sample. It should be anyhow a generalized sample. Therefore, without considering each and every voter in Sri Lanka, what we can do is we can just select 2,500 voters among Sri Lanka and we can perform this study. And for the next one, here think about the second one. If you are going to just to see about the lifetime before failure, then if there is any scientific process that that says that you have to open the battery and you have to see what is the process, and then using that, if you are examining what is the lifetime of a battery, in such a case, what you have to do, you have to destroy all the batteries that they are manufacturing at that time. Therefore, in such situations, it is not easy. Other than that, if you are at least observing it as a physical, if you are taking a physical observation of that lifetime, then it may not be also easy for us. It is because they may be producing large number of batteries at that time. Therefore, in such situations also, what we can do is we can randomly select 50 batteries of their manufacturing of their production, and then we can test for the lifetime of that batteries. And now think about this also. If you need to destroy a battery to identify its lifetime using without waiting for much time, just using any scientific process, if you are conducting that study using a sample, then what you have to do is you have to destroy only this 50 number of batteries only. Otherwise, you have to destroy total production in a situation like that. That is why we have to use these samples for rather for the studies rather than using the populations. And for the third one also, rather than selecting all the workers, they can identify 10 workers from each department of the company, and they can have this statistical survey. And for the last example, we can say if it is a planned laboratory experiment, this is one good thing here. Now think about if it is a very, if we are having highly expensive, what we are saying as the chemicals, highly expensive chemicals that we have to use for lab experiment. We may not able to run 100 or 1,000 trials to obtain a value. Therefore, in such situation, what we can do is we can just randomly identify. We can do it as using these 20 trials, and we can obtain the values. Therefore, rather than using the population, most of the time we tend to use the generalized samples to conduct the statistical surveys. Otherwise, we have to, it will be a time wasting, money wasting, and we may not have enough labors for that, as well as there may be so many other restrictions that we have to face when we are using the populations for the studies. Then if I brief about what we have discussed so far, we can see this figure on that. Here we can see that here we may have large number of observations in a population, and we have to select only set of observations for a sample. And here we have to use the appropriate sample technique. The sampling says that you have to use using sampling means using an appropriate sampling technique. There may be so many sampling techniques to obtain samples from populations. And using one of those techniques, you can easily identify a sample from a population. Now we will move for the discussing on types of statistics that we are generally using in statistics. When we are going to discuss about the types of statistics, there are mainly two types of statistics which are used in which are commonly used. First one is the descriptive statistics, and second one is the inferential statistics. And now we will discuss about them one by one. First, we will have a look about the descriptive statistics. Descriptive statistics is primarily about summarizing a given data set through numerical summaries, graphs, and can be used for exploratory analysis to visualize the information contained in the data and suggest hypotheses, etc. And descriptive statistics generally obtained based on sample data. Okay, this is what the wording says us regarding the descriptive statistic. If I explain on this scenario, descriptive statistics are, I can say that simply, descriptive statistics are generally based on the sample data. Now think about if you have to use the entire population, then based on the entire population also you can obtain this descriptive statistic. But this is not a hard and fast rule that we are following. But most of the time, since most of the time we have to use the sample data, we are obtaining the descriptive statistics based on the sample data. And if you see about what is actually meant by this descriptive statistic, the main goal of this descriptive statistic is summarizing and get the summarized information throughout a sample set of data. Therefore, to get a summarized information, what we have to do is we have to tabulate this data, or we have to use some graphing techniques, and based on these things, we are obtaining some summary statistics. We have to obtain some summary statistics in such situations. Therefore, such are said to be the descriptive statistics. Therefore, we can here also it cases that numerical summaries, we are obtaining numerical summaries and graphs. And these descriptive statistics can be used for the further analysis, or the what we are saying as the exploratory analysis, as well as if you are going for the hypothesis testing processes also, we can use this descriptive statistics. Therefore, generally what we can say is descriptive statistics is the summary statistics that we are obtaining based on the sample data. Therefore, that is the easiest way of defining descriptive statistics. Generally, for the generally we are discussing about this mean, median, mode, then the maximum, minimum, variance, standard deviation. Likewise, there may be much more numerical summarizing techniques for a sample data set. Therefore, we can obtain the descriptive statistics based on that as well. And the next type of statistics that we are going to generally use is the inferential statistics. Inferential statistic, here the wording says about the inferential statistics is concerned with methods for making conclusion about the population based on the sample data. It is the primary idea behind this wording. Therefore, what we can do is now think about this. If you are having a population, then what you are going to do is you are going to take out a sample out of this. You are going to take out a sample. Then you may obtain some statistics based on the sample, and then based on the data, or based on the information that you are having, what you are going to do is you are going to say something regarding this population based on this the information. If you are going to make any comments regarding the population, then such process is said to be the inferential statistics. Therefore, these inferential statistics allows us to make the judgments and presence or absence and the variability, and if there are any what we are saying as any extreme cases. Therefore, in such situations we can use these inferential statistics. Generally, these inferential statistics are widely used in the field of science. Then the things that in this Sri Lanka, think about the government. For a government, they have to have an idea about the what should be the budget in next year. Then they have to have an idea what is the level of expenditure that we may have to have in the next year for the year 2022. Likewise, they have to have an idea. Therefore, based on the existing data or based on the existing information, then they are going to tell about the population or for the future forecastings. Likewise, in the business as well, these things has to be widely used. Therefore, inferential statistics is making conclusions regarding the populations based on the sample data. Therefore, if you look on this figure, now you can see that it is what I have gone here as well. Here it says that population and using an appropriate sampling technique, we have obtained a sample. Then what we can do is based on the sample, we can take out the, or we can identify the descriptive statistics. Based on the sample data, we can have the descriptive statistics. Now, and what we can do is we can inferencing about the population. Therefore, in this way, we will have the descriptive statistic, and using the sample information, what we are going to do is the inferencing on the population. Therefore, we can say this as the inferential statistics. Generally, what we can do is based on the descriptive statistic or the descriptive information that we are obtained based on the sample, we are going to tell about the population. It is the general idea behind this inferential statistics. So far, we have discussed about what is population, what is sample, and how to obtain descriptive statistics, and how to obtain this inferential statistic, or generally what is descriptive statistics and what is inferential statistic. Now we will again focus on the organization and description of data. When we are discussing about the data in statistics, generally the data is obtained by counting or measuring the items. It is the general process of obtaining data. Generally, we are having it as counting, or else we can have in the using the measuring of the items, we can obtain the data. Then this data can be again generally categorized into two categories. One is the qualitative data, next as the quantitative data. Therefore, basically we can say that data has two categories. First one is the qualitative data, and next is the quantitative data. These are the two major categories that we can identify inside data. Now we will discuss about the qualitative data and quantitative data separate. If you discuss about the qualitative data is defined as the data that approximates and characterizes qualitative data can be observed and recorded, and this type of data is non-numerical in nature. But the qualitative data in statistics, also known as the categorical data, since this type of data can be arranged categorically based on the attributes and properties of things or a phenomena. Okay, according to this wording, if I describe what is inside this, for the qualitative data, in the word itself, it has the qualitative. Then what we can say is based on a quality parameter. Based on a quality parameter, if we are obtaining some data, then such data is meant to be the qualitative data. In general, we can say that based, or if you are making data based on a quality parameter, then such data is meant to be a qualitative data. In simply, what we can say is qualitative data. Another name for this qualitative data is categorical data. This is also named as the categorical data. It is because we are representing some categories using this qualitative data. As an example, now think about this hair color. If you think about this phenomena, hair color, you can have the hair colors as black, brown, white, and if you need, if any person colored their hair, then it may be red, or then it may be green. Likewise, there may be so many colors. So purple. Likewise, there may be so many colors. Here, what we have identified is based on a quality parameter. Therefore, based on the color, here we have obtained these data. As an example, suppose that I am examining several people who are walking around a tourist area, just a coastal area in Sri Lanka, which is popular for the tourism. Therefore, if I observe the hair color of the people who are passing me, then for the first person, we can say it is black color. Another person, it may be black color. If there is somewhat an old person, that person may have white color. And if there is a tourist, then it may be somewhat brown. Then another person may have colored his or her hair by the purple color. Think like that. Therefore, in such situation, these are the data points that we are obtaining. Here, what we can say is based on a quality. Based on a qualitative value, we have obtained this data. That is why we can say this as the qualitative data. For the gender, if you consider about this, if you are gender, there will be two categories, male and female. Now you are observing about the gender of the people who are entering for a restaurant. Then we can say that first person is male, second person is female, again male, another female, another male. Likewise, there may be observations that you can make on. Here also we can see that based on a qualitative or the what we are saying as an attribute, based on an attribute, we have identified this set of data. Then we can say next one is the field of study. If you think about the, if you are go to any school and ask for a A-level class, what you are asking, what is the field of study? One student may say that, okay, I am studying in the technology stream. I am studying technology. Another may say that I am studying in mathematics. Another say that I also studies technology. Then another may say that I am learning arts. Another may say that I am having the commerce stream. Another may say that I am having biology. Therefore, here also you can see that the values are just based on some attribute. There is no any numeric quantity there. Here we are having just names only. Therefore, these can be said to be some qualitative data. Then political affiliation, then status of disease infection, whether it is infected or not infected. As an example, in these days, the most common word that we can hear is positive and negative. Positive and negative. Some if this situation exists there for much more time, then the people may ask whether you are positive or you are negative. If with this COVID-19 situation, what we experience is there may be a positive group of people, there may be negative group of people, or else not tested. There may be the next group may be not tested. If they are not tested, it may not positive, it may not negative. There will be another group of people in this category as well. That is why here we can see for all these examples which I have taken, we can see that there are so many categories. That is why we can say this qualitative data as the categorical data. Now we will move to discuss on the quantitative data. In the word itself, quantitative. Here we can see that these are the measurements that are based on the numeric quantity. Therefore, if you go through these wordings, quantitative data is defined as value of data in form of counts or numbers, where each data set has unique numerical value associated with it. As an example, if you we will discuss examples later, then we can say that this data represent any quantifiable information that can be used for mathematical calculation, statistical analysis, such that real life decisions that we can make based on this mathematical and statistical derivations. Therefore, quantitative data, simply we can say that if we are assigning or if we are dealing with the numerical quantities, in the word itself, quantities. If we are dealing with the quantities, then such data is said to be categorized under this quantitative data. In simply, if you measure the height of the students, in the experiment of height of the students, what you had obtained was, it was 170, 165, 153, 167, 172. Likewise, you may have the numeric value. These are not categories. Another student may say that he may be 170.5 centimeters. Even that may be happen. Therefore, here what we are having is numerical values. Therefore, you are quantifying their heights. That is why we can say that height is a quantitative data. It is not based on quality. It is in such a, you can say, if you are asking whether that student is a tall student or short student, in that way you can say that it is a qualitative data. But if you are using the numeric values, then we can say it as a quantitative data. Therefore, now you may think that rather than saying it as tall or short person, if you measure the height, you can easily have an idea about those students. It is because if you are saying, now think that if you are saying this student is a tall student, then if you compare this student with the last student, now this has become the tallest student and this student become the short student. Therefore, it is actually comparative. Therefore, rather than using these qualitative techniques, we may use the quantitative techniques here. But for the hair color, we cannot say that it is black is good, brown is not that much good. If the person who has colored by purple, it is the least value. There is nothing like that. Therefore, there is no any order at least for this type of data. If you are mentioning their colors, these are just categories only. That is the main difference between these qualitative and quantitative data. And the next important thing between these two are, generally we are going to perform this statistical calculation based on this quantitative data. There are some situations we are using the qualitative data as well, as when we are discussing these qualitative data as the counts. If you are taking them as counts, then there are some many statistical techniques we can use for this qualitative data as well, but in the as a majority, and if we are mainly focusing on this quantitative data. And here I have mentioned some examples for quantitative data, measuring the height, age, then the crop yield, GPA, salary, temperature, area. Likewise, you may have several fields we can identify the quantitative data. When we are discussing about data, I told that there are two categories. First as the qualitative and next as the quantitative. But when we are going to study on data, this is actually not enough for us. It is because just to identify whether this data belongs to whether it is qualitative or quantitative category, you can use this concept. But if you need to apply some special statistical techniques, therefore, in such situations, this categorization may not sufficient. Therefore, now what we are going to do is, now we are going to in detail learn about this data. There is a technique called the scale of measurements. Therefore, using the scale of measurements, now we are going to categorize this data. Here we have generally categorized this data into two categories as qualitative and quantitative. Now it is quite like subdividing these qualitative and quantitative into some other subcategories. Therefore, now we are not going to worry on this qualitative and quantitative. Here, what we are going to use the terminology as the scale of measurements. Now we will see what is actually meant by this scale of measurements. Scale of measurements refers to ways in which variables or numbers are defined and categorized. It says that scale of measurement is also another technique that we can categorize or define the variables, so the numbers. Here, based on the physical appearance and based on the attributes, we have identified qualitative data. Based on the attribute that the quantifying techniques, we have identified quantitative data. Here also, based on scale of measurements is another way that we can categorize these data. And when we are going to categorize the data based on this scale of measurements, what we can identify is there may be some properties for each category. When we are using a scale of measurement, we can identify there are some distinct properties for each category, and then these properties determines the appropriateness of the allocating these data into one of these categories. And based on this scale of measurements, we may identify what are the suitable statistical analysis method for each type of the data which is presented. Therefore, basically, the basic idea is based on the scale of measurement, we are selecting what should be the appropriate statistical technique. When we are going to discuss on the scale of measurements, we can identify that there are 4 scales of measurements. And these 4 scales of measurements are said to be nominal scale, ordinal scale, interval scale, and ratio scale. This is the order that it is generally writing. Nominal scale. Then we are discussing with the ordinal scale. Then we are discussing the interval scale. And thereafter, as the last one, we are discussing the ratio scale. And when we are going to discuss about these 4, if we are identifying these levels 1, 2, 3, and as 4, ratio as 4. then we can say that lowest level is nominal. This is the lowest level. If you consider the level here, the lowest is the top, highest is the bottom. The lowest scale is the nominal scale, and the highest scale that we can apply for any data type is ratio scale. When we are classifying the data, when we are going to classify our data, we are generally used with the highest scale, and if it is not appropriate, then we are sending it to one step ahead. It means suppose that if you are having a data, if it not falls into ratio, then we are checking whether it is suitable for interval scale. If it is suitable, then we will keep it there. But now think about if it is not at least suitable for the interval, then we have to move that variable or data into ordinal scale. If it satisfies with the properties of ordinal scale, then we keep that data point or the variable at there. But if it is not at least satisfying the properties of ordinal, then we have to definitely move it into the nominal scale. Here it is no need to again check for any other thing. It is because if any data or any variable does not belongs to this second, third or fourth category, then it should be definitely in the nominal category. It is the general rule that we can have. Therefore, when we are assigning the variable or any data, then we have to check whether what is the most appropriate scale of measurement. And generally we are starting from ratio, and then we are moved towards the nominal scale. And there is a concept in statistics called this parametric test and the non-parametric test. Therefore, basically, we can identify that parametric tests are most of the time used with these interval and ratio scales, and non-parametric tests are mostly used with these nominal and ordinal scales. And when we are compared those two, parametric test with the non-parametric test, non-parametric tests are less powerful compared to the parametric test. Therefore, if any data point suitable for any variable suitable for ratio, definitely you have to allocate it to it. Otherwise, if you are just dropping it into nominal scale, makes a lot harm to your statistical analysis as well. Now we will see how we can identify and what are the properties of each scale of measurements. Now we will discuss them one by one. First, we will have an idea regarding nominal scale. A nominal scale is a measurement scale in which numbers serve as tags or labels only to identify or classify an object. This measurement normally deals with non-numeric variables or where numbers have no value. Categories are just to have identification only, and there is no any logical order. Arithmetic operations would be inappropriate for a variable on nominal scale. These are the things in the wordings, and if I explain the things simply, nominal scale is what we are saying as the lowest scale that we are considering for any data or any variable. In the nominal scale, what we are generally doing is generally we are having the non-numeric values. We are generally having the non-numeric values. As an example, you may have the color. Likewise, if it is color, then the possible values that you can have is black. If it is colors, then you may have black, brown, white, red, so on. You may have the colors. Here we can see that these are just the names. Therefore, in the nominal scale, nominal in the word itself, it just says that it is something related with names. Therefore, generally in the nominal scale, we are not using any numbers. Therefore, generally, the nominal scale having the non-numeric variables. It is the general thing that we can see. And in the nominal scale, here we cannot see any defined order. There is no one can say that black is best and brown is somewhat less than that. Red is the least one. We cannot have an order like that. Therefore, if you consider about the nominal scale, what we can simply say is for the nominal scale, this has an identification. It means that you can have this has an identification. Here you can see that if it is black, then you can say black says an identification. If it is a brown, you have an identification. Whether it is white or red or SL, you have an identification only. And this says that no logical order. No logical order. It is because if I write these four values, four names in this way, another may say that, okay, I will write brown first, then black, then red, then white. Here we can see that if you compare these two, there is no any logical order writing the things. It is just as we wish, we have write down the values. It is the only thing we have used. And there we cannot apply any arithmetic calculations. No arithmetic calculations. It is because can you add black with black, black plus black? You cannot perform this type of arithmetic calculation. If you are having black multiplied with black, this cannot be happen. If you multiply black with red, that is why it says that we cannot apply any arithmetic operations here. But at the very beginning, I told that generally this nominal scale of measurements deals with the non-numeric variables. But there are some situations that we can see that numeric values are associated with this nominal scale of measurement. Here one example is given as this. Now think about, it says that occasionally numeric values are used for representation in nominal scale. But even though you are using numeric values in nominal scale, you cannot apply any arithmetic calculation. It is the simplest idea you have to have when it is in the nominal scale. As an example, think about if you are if you are observing the gender of the people who are entering for a restaurant or for any classroom or any place, then you may say you may suppose that you are naming female as number 1 and you are saying male as number 2. But this does not sense that you can add these two. Now think that if you are naming female as 1 and you are saying male as 2, then even though we are having the numeric values, this does not have any gravity on this assigning it as female or to assigning as male. Another person may say that, okay, I will say that female is 0, male as 1. I will say male as 1. Another may say that female, I am giving the value 2. For the males, I am giving the value 1. Therefore, here what we can see is the numbers are only used for the identification of that category only. And here also, even though we are using numbers, we cannot have this multiplication as 1 into 2 equals to 2. Here we cannot perform this 1 plus 2 equals 3. You cannot have this type of calculations. It is because these numbers are just used for the representation of categories only. That is the thing that you have to keep in your mind. Even though numbers are used in nominal scale, you cannot use the arithmetic calculations there. As an examples for nominal scale, we can have these variable, these examples. If you see about the gender, now think on this experiment. If you're observing the gender, then it may be having the categories as male and female. If you observe the hair color, here we may get it is black, it is brown, it is red, This white, likewise, you may have values only. No any logical order. Only the identification is there. No any arithmetic calculation. Then brand name. Brand name. If you are considering about vehicles, then one may say that it is Toyota. Another may say that it is Honda. It is Nissan. Likewise, there may be they may say it is Tesla. Likewise, there may be having several brand names, but this does not having any this what we are saying as any no any ordered way is there. It is just for identification only. Then for the color of the vehicle, again it will be like this. Then country of birth. If you are asking about the country of birth, then it may be Sri Lanka. Then another person say it is India. Another may say it is USA. Another may say it is UK. Likewise, there may be or New Zealand or the Australia. Likewise, there may be several countries of birth will be there, but there is no any ordered way. You cannot add or subtract or you cannot do any arithmetic calculation on those data. Therefore, these are the properties that you have to be familiarized with this nominal scale. And now we will move for the next one. It is for the ordinal scale of data. When we are going to discuss about the ordinal scale, in the word itself, it suggests that there is somewhat an order. And here, since this is saying as the first stage and second stage of scale of measurement is the ordinal scale. This is second, we can say this is the next level for measurements. And here we may have the for the ordinal scale, you may have the identification. Identification should be there. And in the word itself, it suggests that ordinal, it suggests that logical order is there. Logical order is there. If you see on these wordings, ordinal scale is the next level of measurement that reports the ranking and ordering of the data without actually establishing the degree of variation between them. That is why we are saying that we are having just an identification and logical order there. Ordinary level of measurement consists of distinct categories in which order is implied. The same thing, arithmetic operations would be inappropriate. Now here also it says that there cannot be have any arithmetic operations. No arithmetic operations. No arithmetic calculations used in the ordinal scale as well. Then here also it says that sometimes we may use the numeric values. It is only for the identifications only. You cannot say that even though you are saying it as numeric values, you cannot go for any arithmetic calculation. As an example, if you observe the level of pressure, then you may have it as a high level. If it is high, you are assigning it as 1. If it is low, you are assigning as 0. Then you cannot say that, okay, I will multiply this and say this is 0. No, you cannot do it. It is because even though I have used high 1 for high, 0 for low, another may say that for high it would be 0. For low, it would be 1. Another may say that for high, I am using the value 2. For low, I will use value 1. Likewise, these numbers can be used only for the identification of the levels only. Therefore, in the what we can see in the ordinal scale, we can use the numbers, but it is also only for the identification of categories. And if you compare on the nominal and ordinal scale, what you can see is the difference between these two is there is a logical order in the ordinal scale. Since we cannot use any arithmetic calculation based on this, generally we can say that nominal and ordinal scale can be considered as the data which falls into nominal or ordinal can be considered as qualitative data. Therefore, based on the quality, we are having these two scales of measurements. That is why we can say that for nominal and ordinal scale, if data falls into one of these two regions, then we can say the data is categorical data. Here the examples for ordinal scale, the grade obtained for statistics. If I suppose that if it is given as A plus, A minus, then B plus, B minus, likewise. If this is the grading system I am giving for this statistics, then it says that A plus is the best. Then according to this, then likewise you may have D and even failure. Then in this situation, F would be the worst, best and the worst. Therefore, in between these two, I have assigned several letter gradings, but you don't know what is the value of A plus added to A. You do not know what is the value of this. That is why no any numeric calculation is appropriate. Therefore, here you are having the just the groups only, but there is a logical load. It says that A plus is better than A. A is better than A minus. B plus A minus is better than B plus. Likewise, you can just have a comparison only. Here some others, customer satisfaction level. Customer satisfaction level also can be considered. Therefore, if you are just having a questionnaire for customers, then you may say that, okay, I will have it in this way. The satisfying customer. Then another may say that it is neutral. And the third may have in that it is not satisfied. Therefore, here also we can say that this is satisfied. This is neutral. Then this may be not satisfied. Likewise, you may have the categories here, but there is no there is a logical loader. But can you add these two? Definitely, you cannot add these. There does not make any sense. Therefore, this is inappropriate. That is why it says that there is no any arithmetic calculation. Here also you can say that identification is there. We know what is satisfied. We know what is neutral. We know what is not satisfied. And there is a logical load as well. Therefore, these two properties can be identified. If our variable is in the ordinal scale, only identification will be there if it is in the nominal scale. And there is a technique called the Likert scale. A Likert scale, it can be also applied for this ordinal scale data. Therefore, to obtaining the data, we can apply this Likert scale. It is quite like this is somewhat like a 3-point Likert scale. Then there may be some others like in this way. If I use some colors for this, it is the extremely satisfied. Now, if I use if that person is extremely satisfied, then we may have this. Then up to some extent, if it is satisfied, then we may have like this, somewhat satisfied. And another may say that this is neutral. This may be neutral. And this maybe says that it is not that much satisfied. And if you are using another one, it says that it is totally dissatisfied. Likewise, here we can say that there are 5 points here we have considered. We can use the colors or else any other techniques we can use using several emojis like this or emotions like this. Then we can say that this is neutral. Service is good. Service seems good. or highly satisfied with you. This is neither satisfied nor dissatisfied. Um, this says that extremely bad. Service is extremely bad and dissatisfied. Here, service is not good. It says that does not say it's extremely bad. It is not that much good. Likewise, you may have a 5-point of Likert scale like this. Therefore, this can say this as a 5-point Likert scale. It is because here we are using 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5 points. Therefore, this can be again applied with this ordinal scale. Anyhow, with these two, this nominal and ordinal scale, we can just identify them as the categorical data. And this is all what I need to explain for this session. And thank you all for participating with this session.